Welcome to the ZiaWoolz StudioBuzz podcast, episode 31. This is a podcast about knitting and spinning and lots of yarny goodness. My name is Doc, and I am coming to you from Albuquerque in New Mexico in the beautiful Southwest. Well, let's jump right in, right? If you have watched last episode, you may remember that I was going on a trip on a knitting retreat, and that was my cat. He's sitting right here on the table. So we went on a train from Albuquerque to Winslow, Arizona, and we've done this for the second time. It's organized by the yarn store at Nob Hill here in Albuquerque, and as you can imagine, it's lots of fun. If you are interested in participating in this, it will probably happen again next February, and you can contact the yarn store and have them put you on a list so you get notified once they start planning the trip. It's usually around Valentine's Day, and what else did I want to tell you? Oh yeah, Winslow, Arizona, and we stayed in the La Posada Hotel, which is a beautiful old place filled with art, and it has a lot of beautiful spaces throughout the hotel where you can sit and knit and chat with friends. And this year, for the first time, they had some yarn vendors, among them me. So ZiaWoolz was there as a vendor, which was great fun because I always love to meet the people who buy my yarn and who work with it, and so I can see what they plan to make and talk to them about the different yarns that I carry. So that's always great fun. And of course, it was really fun to meet the other dyers who came from Arizona and Colorado. And I'll show you, of course, I had to do a trade with one of the dyers, but I will show you that later. And this is Ike visiting now. I think they really like that they can come up on the table. So I have one on the left and one on the right. Okay, but as you may imagine, when you travel, there's a lot of knitting time. Of course, at the retreat where we had 2 full days also with mini classes, but also with a lot of time where you could just hang out and knit with your friends. And but my husband and I, we went on a trip further into Arizona after the retreat, and so that was great fun because then usually he's the one who drives and I get to knit while we are on the road. And of course, then in the evenings you have a lot of knitting time because you don't have to take care of meals and laundry and all that good stuff that happens at home, and that reduces the knitting time. So I was working on a few things that you may remember. One of them was something that I had not started yet, but I had talked about it, and that was a new pair of socks for my husband. And by now they are finished. I call them double up buttercup socks because I hold sock yarn double because he loves to wear them around the house. And this is how they look like. And I forgot my sock blockers. This is sock 1. And this is sock 2. The way I do these is I use 3.5mm needles. I start from the top and I have modified my stitch count a little bit. Last time I had 56 stitches. No, I'm lying. 52. And this time, the last pair turned out loosening up quite a bit in the foot. So I thought that I should probably change that, even though he doesn't mind, he still wears them a lot. So with these, I cast on 48 stitches, and that's probably gonna be all the difference that is needed. And the yarn I have used is a skein of this, and that's what I have left. Sorry, I'm crinkling. Mountain Colors from Montana, and that was a gift from my friend Jessie. Thank you again, Jessie. Loved working with this. And I held it together with a German sock yarn in small amounts. And these are the ones that I brought back. And I have to say that these were solid colors, but what I used and worked with the most were self-patterning leftover yarns for the contrasting color from the German sock yarns. And yeah, that way it's just more fun because you really, if both yarns pattern, that's even more fun because you really don't know how it's going to turn out. I had a lot of fun with these. So just the ends to weave in, and then I'm done. There is no pattern. Ask me if you have any questions. I think there's probably patterns out there. These were my instructions. The first version, and then on the bottom I crammed the new version with my row count and stuff like that for the heel. Yeah, those are done, or pretty much, except for the weaving in. Then I was also very monogamously working on a shawl that you had seen before. It is My White Out by Melanie Berg. And this is how it's going to look eventually. Such a nice shawl. And I had meant to use initially my Alaskan Kiviot combined with this Frog Raven yarn. Both of these I had brought home from Alaska, from a trip to Alaska. But then it turned out that I didn't have enough Kiviot. And so I dyed a lace yarn that I carry with ZiaWoolz, and this is how it turned out. If you compare, not quite the same, but similar enough. And I was going for a not too high contrast, obviously. And I love orange, and this is where I am right now. Hold on. As you can see, the first lace section is done. The cats are fighting next to me. And yeah, it was a little bit demanding, I have to say, because I don't knit a lot of lace patterns. It always takes me a while to familiarize myself with that different knitting style. And but then it was really fun. It's just that now that I am done with the next stripy section, I'm gonna get to that. This is where I am. I have to start the next lace section. And yeah, I just need some peace and quiet for that. And right now I'm captured by another project, which I'm going to show you in a moment. So I haven't yet started with this lace, because once I start, I want to stick with it and work through it until the end. But, oh yes, and I did want to show you the label for this one, in case that's something you are interested in. I have already put it in my wonderful knitting and traveling notebook. This is the label. And it's Raven Frog Fibers. And the content is, sorry, goodness, I should have gotten my readers. It is 51% silk, 29% merino, and 28% sisal. So a new to me yarn in itself, and I love working with it. It's going to be a very nice and drapey shawl, and the other one also has a silk content, so that'll be a shawl with a lot of nice drape and just not too warm, so great for the spring. Okay, that was that. I have another finished object. Remember I told you about the fingerless mitts that my friend in Germany wanted, and she had a pair before and she loved them so much, but she wore through them after a few years. So now she ordered another pair, or she wanted 2 pairs. I have made those. And I have shipped them because as soon as they were dry, I wanted them to be on the way to her because she was so much looking forward to them. Do you believe it? I did not take a picture. I am sorry. So hopefully once she has them, she will take a picture and get it to me, and maybe I can then insert one for you for next time. Plan that for next time. So those were done. And then I have been very intensely working on another project, and that is the baby blanket, which I am making for my friend's baby, which will be born end of March in Germany. And this is the pattern by Gudrun Johnston, and it's the Hansel, the full version. And I am using Cormo, which I had purchased at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. And I am currently on the lace border. And this is how it looks like. What can I tell you about this? So I am making this with 5mm needles, and I am so terribly distracted right now because the cats are fighting. You probably hear them. So I wanted to, as soon as I'm on the edge, I did not really plan out my colors. I had said that I had some hand spun and that I also wanted to use this, which is a ZiaWoolz yarn that I don't carry anymore, but I still had a little bit in stock. And I had over dyed this, and I thought that's great for a baby girl, kind of like a pale pink, and I had this similar greenish colors. So what happened was, once I started working on the lace edge, I realized that the hand spun in itself changes color so much that I wanted to focus on the edge with the hand spun. And instead of switching skeins and colorways of hand spun, I thought I'm gonna grab whatever works with the weight of the cormo, and then I will use that and just use what I have, what works, color wise and like I said, weight wise. So this is a big piece, and even though it doesn't show because I have it on a needle like this, that's a lot of stitches. So right now, at some point when I was mid lace, I counted my stitches and it was 400 all the way around, and that was, I'm probably at 500 stitches for one round. So it takes me a while. But so I'm using up quite a bit of yarn on this, and I am currently, so the way this is going to be done is it's going to have a zigzag lace edge in the end where you use the color of the inner square. So I am right now preparing for that by reintroducing the natural white, so it's not too harsh when I put that on the edge. So I'm probably going to make a third stripe of that, and there's, I'm not quite sure, probably another inch or 1.5 inches that go here before that applied lace edge is going to be worked. And I am currently, after this, I will, no, that's the wrong one. I will finish this one. And if I need it, I will also have this. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I just totally had to sneeze with all the fluff from this guy. Yes, so like I said, first this, then if needed this, or even these. I'm not so sure because they're very bright. I haven't decided yet. I will see what I feel like. Yeah, and here in the pattern picture, you can see that's how this final lace edge is gonna look like. I'm gonna be excited when I get to that. Wonderful. I mean, it doesn't have to be done by the end of this month, but it would be nice kind of to get it done fairly soonish to be able to send it away, to send it to Germany around the time that the baby is born. So this is this, and I have not done enough on my socks to show you. So I have not even brought these. But what else I brought is new stash, and I have mentioned already that I have done a trade with one of the dyers in Winslow, and I also brought my bag. So this is the goodie bag that we got last year from the yarn store, and the way they do it is every year, if you go on the same trip, you give them your bag so they fill it with the goodies. And there were a lot of, Barocco was the sponsor, so there was a lot of Barocco, generous amounts of Barocco samples. And, but also the yarn, there was a full skein of Theodora's pearls. And that's how it looks like. I love this. This is a very suitable yarn for the desert, and I have to figure out what I want to make. I'm not sure yet. It is a 100% bamboo yarn, and I have this beautiful lacy pattern for a light shrug with half sleeves that I've made that a few times already. It was a pattern that I got from a German magazine, but sadly I don't think that the 2 skeins will be enough for that unless I modify that a little bit, but I would really like that. Oh, by the way, the colorway is called the Turquoise Room, and there's a turquoise room at the La Posada Hotel where we stayed. So great goodie skein. And yes, you do see me holding 2 skeins because yes, my husband got a goodie bag, and since he doesn't knit score, I got 2 skeins. Yeah, and with the same dyer, I did a yarn swap. So these are the 2 yarns that I picked. Again, that same bamboo base. And these I obviously want to use together, and I'm thinking that they have to go into a shawl together. They're so pretty. And when we were traveling, you know how that goes. So I looked, and there was a yarn store in Prescott in Arizona where we spent 2 nights. And by the way, where we got snowed in, which was kind of funny. I ended up having a lot of knitting time because you literally could not do anything sightseeing wise. All the museums and places were closed. We were just lucky that there was a restaurant in our hotel where we could actually get some food. And as we arrived in Prescott, I had looked up the yarn store, and that's what we visited, that one. And I thought that was the nicest thing ever. Look at that. Every new customer gets a bag. It was a very nice yarn store. They also catered to spinners and weavers, so not just yarn. And I lucked out because what I walked away with was this beautiful skein of yarn, which was part of I want to say a sock yarn club or a yarn club. So it's not normally available in the store, and in that store, she didn't tell me why they had it. It was just this one skein, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Love it. So, and this is it in terms of what I have been up to. In regards to the shop, I did want to mention something that I hadn't been thinking of mentioning earlier, but if you are shopping from my Etsy shop, but you are local, please do get in touch. I can always have you over here to my studio. I'd be glad to show you the place where I dye, and that way you don't need to spend the money on shipping, having your yarn shipped if you're close by. The other thing that I meant to mention is since I use so much hand spun, I know it's always a little bit tricky to order fibers online. So if you order yarn from me, but you are a spinner as well, since I normally add a little bit of a small sample of yarn to every yarn order anyways, if you let me know that you're a spinner, I'd gladly add a little bit of a fiber sample to your order. And currently I have prepared these guys here. And this is and I have shown you this before. This is my local Rambouillet that I have picked up from a local farm, and it is from the last huge sheep farm in New Mexico, and it was processed by Zeilingers in Michigan, where I hope I'm going to be able to go there one day. Really, that's a dream of mine, to go to Michigan and visit that wool mill. That they've been in the business for a very long time, and they truly know what they're doing. And it's one of those, you know, if you compare them next to a braid of a silk blend, a bamboo blend, any of those tencel ones, it looks a little bit dull, but the yarn that this produces is so scrumptious and yummy because it has a lot of, because the fibers have so much crimp. It's no comparison to a merino, commercially processed merino top. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know. But this is the one that I'm using, one of the ones that I'm using in the baby blanket. That's this Rambouillet. You can tell. I probably dyed these together. I think I spun that recently. And but it's so incredibly squishy, and it is just really beautiful for anything that has a texture, because your stitches really pop, and you just see it all, and it's going to be a beautiful garment or piece of blanket in this case, where you can wash it. I mean, of course it's not super wash, but when you wash it, it's going to be very nicely given its shape. It's going to block nicely. What am I even saying? That's confusing. I hope you know what I mean, right? Yeah, really fun stuff. So like I said, shop. If you buy yarn and you're interested in a spinning fiber sample, just let me know in a note when you place your order. And then I will have, I wanted to show you one more thing which I think about making right now. That's dream knitting. And since I forgot the pattern, So I have browsed Ravelry, and as we do, and I came across a so-called cascade shoulder cowl. I am right now in this state where I cannot decide what I want to make. So I think I want to make this one, but it is also made with beads. So I don't know how necessary the beads actually are to get this drape. And I think it's absolutely stunning with beads, but on the other hand, it's not my style, you know. It looks so amazing and it's a beautiful work of art with the beads, but I think it would be too, I don't even know what the word is, frilly for me. It's not really what I wear. And I think I'm already pushing my boundaries by using something, by wearing something with a lot of lace like this, even though I really would like to have this piece. So I need to do a little bit more soul searching. Also, one thing that I very much would have to change in this pattern is that it's only written instructions, and I'm fairly certain that I will draw out the lace pattern in a chart, and that shouldn't be a big deal. The main thing what I really like is that it's not just like a wide cowl, but it actually really narrows towards your neck. And I think what I'm gonna like about it is that I have a lot of very light garments that I wear when it gets hot here, but then you do need something to throw over that when you go inside, because it's just cool. Every place is air conditioned, as you can imagine. So I think that's what I'm going for. And this pattern here, the sample is knitted in a light fingering yarn. And that is why I have already pulled out this. It is my Sugarloaf yarn, which is a light fingering with a lot of yardage, like 560, I think. Yeah, and so that would probably be a perfect amount for this. On the other hand, this is 100% wool. So this in itself is not going to give me the drape. Can you tell, I can't make up my mind. Then I was thinking about holding two lace yarns together to get the weight, but also with a little bit of a silk content to get the drape. But I could also, I could also use my 50-50 merino. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. I could totally use this. Stay tuned. I will report back with this decision. Okay, I will close now. I will see you again in roughly 2 weeks. I hope until then you have a great time, and we have a lot of fun working on all our knits. And until I see you again, happy knitting.